One of the biggest misconceptions about prediabetes is that you don't need to worry about developing it if you're eating healthy food. This was where I was several years back, eating tons of healthy foods like smoothies, lots of vegetables and fruit, and whole grains. Now, what I didn't expect was getting my labs back from my doctor, where my fasting glucose and hemoglobin A1C were in the prediabetes range. Now, luckily, my doctor was proactive and smart and prescribed me a continuous glucose monitor so that I could see what was going on. This was back before CGMs were over the counter and when they were really just for people with diabetes. Now they have versions that work really well for people with prediabetes, and you can easily get up and running on a CGM by ordering it online and without a prescription. And if you're interested in doing that, check out my CGM Jumpstart course. Details are down below. So once I had my CGM, which was an Abbott Freestyle Libre, I did three things that helped me reverse my prediabetes within 3 months. That's when I retested my A1C and it was back to normal. My morning fasting glucose level was in normal range even before that. So the first thing I did was quickly identify foods that were excessively spiking my blood sugar. And I say excessively because it's normal to have blood sugar spikes when you consume food. What's important is how high the spike goes and how long it stays up there. Excessive means the level goes beyond the recommended range. The foods that were causing excessive spikes for me were first and foremost dried fruit. I used to love to eat medjool dates as a little treat after dinner. I would normally have 3 or 4 of them, which seemed like no big deal. But it was a big deal to my blood sugar. It caused spikes up above 220 milligrams per deciliter, which is way outside the normal range of 70 to 140 milligrams per deciliter. Now, other foods that were problematic for me were brown rice. Again, most people think brown rice is a great whole grain, healthy food, and for many people it is. Fruit smoothies were a problem, and gluten free sandwich bread. So, fruit was a big problem for me, but I didn't have to eliminate it. The portion sizes I was eating were just way too big. So, just by greatly reducing the amount so that I was avoiding an excessive spike, began to bring my morning glucose levels down significantly. Now, as a special note here about gluten free foods, this is one food category in particular that has that halo effect where people automatically think it's healthy. But gluten-free foods are often made with highly refined flours like rice flour. Now, the body basically interprets these as pure sugar, so they can really cause a spike in glucose levels. So that leads us to the next thing that helped me reverse prediabetes with a CGM. I determined my carbohydrate tolerance level, or CTL as I call it. The CTL is the amount of carbohydrates you can consume before getting an excessive glucose spike. For this, I used not just the CGM, but I also used an online food journal. I began tracking each meal in the food journal. I made sure to include everything I was eating so that the food journal would quickly calculate the amount of carbohydrates I was eating. Carbohydrates are the macronutrient that affect blood sugar the most. So after each meal, I would enter in the food data, and then I'd wait to look at my CGM data. It takes about 2 hours for your blood sugar to peak. I could then compare the amount of carbs I was eating to the reaction as listed by my glucose level on my phone app. I kept doing this day after day and even trying little experiments with quantities and various foods. Now, what I quickly discovered was the amount of carbohydrates I could consume at a single sitting without going outside the recommended range. Now, for me, it was about 20 to 25 grams of carbs that I could eat before getting an excessive spike. That's my carbohydrate tolerance level. And by the way, those 4 medjool dates I was eating are about 72 grams of carbs. So no wonder I was spiking so high. So, how did this help me reverse prediabetes? Well, once I had that knowledge of my CTL, Then I could avoid eating foods that I knew went outside the range. So, for example, I would make, say, tacos for dinner, and I could quickly look at the nutrition label on the packaging of the tortillas and the taco mix and add those together to see the total carb load of my meal. And from that, I knew that I could eat about 2 tacos before surpassing that 25-gram limit. So it took a little time, but it was well worth the effort. And to this day, I still look at the nutrition labels or I just Google food items to see what their carb content is. Honestly, you start to automatically memorize how many carbs are in foods that you consume frequently. Okay, so once I understood my CTL, I then did the third thing that helped me reverse prediabetes. So using the CGM, I stayed within the recommended glucose level range for non diabetic individuals 95% of the time. So that range is 70 to 140 milligrams per deciliter. It's easy to see on the interface of the CGM phone app. So, what's 95% of the time? It's about 23 out of 24 hours in a day. So, I can go outside that range about 1 hour a day. Staying within that range 95% of the time keeps my blood sugar low enough that over time, my A1C normalized. So that's how I did it. Again, the three things were one, identifying those foods that were causing excessive spikes, two, determining my carbohydrate tolerance level or CTL, and three, keeping my glucose levels in the recommended range 95% of the time. I'm super thankful that my doctor caught my elevated blood sugar as part of annual lab work. And in retrospect, getting a CGM was probably the best thing I've ever done for my health. If you're wondering which over the counter CGM I think is the best for beginners, watch my video on that right there. And I'd really appreciate a like and a follow if this was helpful to you. I'm a small player on YouTube and it really helps me out. I'll see you next time.